are going to, this is Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. strength. We are going to jump right into it with a more dynamic warm up where we're really going to start activating our core and our glutes. So we're going to start on the floor. Okay, so we're going to start with just a bird dog. We've got our hands under our shoulders, knees under our hips. Really pull your belly button in nice and tight. We're trying to keep this middle part of our body stationary the whole time as we lift right leg, left arm, bring it down, other side. So notice how the middle part of my body is nice and still, nice and flat. If there was a glass of water on it, my goal is to not spill a drop. Couple more here. Okay, so the next time the right leg goes up, we're going to stay here and pulse. Just tiny little movement. Really pull in that belly button. One more, other side. Pulse. Pull in the belly button. Okay, now we're going to go into donkey kick. So again, middle part of the body is nice and stationary. Left or right leg comes up in the air. Pull it in towards the belly button. Extend it right back up. Okay, we're going to hold at the top and little pulses. Okay, keep it at the top. We're going to circle out, around, and back in. Try and keep that middle part of the body as still as you can. One more, and other direction. One more, and other side. You should be good and warm on at least one side of your body by now. Okay, lock that belly button in, extend the left leg up. Really squeeze at the top. One more, hold at the top and pulse. And big circles, lift it up, around, out, and back down. Other direction. One more. Okay, stretch it out for a second. So hopefully the bottom half of your body should be really woke up by now. So now we're going to do the same thing with the top half. So we're going to stay on the floor for a minute. And I really want to encourage you to make this movement tiny. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to bring our hands under our shoulders. pull the shoulder blades back and down, really lock the shoulder blades down the back. And then we're gonna pull the elbows back towards the legs. And I'm gonna exaggerate this movement so you can see what I'm doing. You don't even wanna go that deep. This is a tiny little pulsing movement. Tiny little movement. Elbows are pointed directly back towards your legs. Shoulders are pulled back and down. Locked down as tight as you can get them. Few more here. And now we're going to come up into a plank, so you can just come to a nice straight line on your knees or pop up on your toes. We'll just be here for a few seconds. Planks don't feel good first thing in the workout. We won't be here long. Well, I don't know that they ever feel good, but they feel even harder right now. And come up. Okay, little bit more shoulders here. We're gonna roll the shoulders back and down. Chest is lifted, feet about hip distance apart, and we're just lifting our arms up and down. Really keep those shoulders locked back and down. Okay, this next one, hold at the top. We're gonna flip the palms up and down. If this feels like too much of a strain, try bending your arms a little bit. Few more here. Okay, so you should be starting to feel that kind of warmth and almost like a squeezing feeling on the top half of your body. Now we're getting everything nice and warm. So bring your arms to 90 degrees, like you're one of those old-fashioned Barbie dolls. And you're just going to bring your elbows up to shoulder level and back down, like you're flapping your wings. Again, lift up through the chest, shoulders pulled back and down, belly button locked down tight. Okay, this next one, we're going to pause at the top. We're going to draw little circles with our elbows, like we're chicken. Other direction. Okay, so hopefully you feel pretty warm by now. We're going to do a little bit of a spinal rotation, depending on how warm you are. If you're not quite warm enough yet, you don't want to necessarily do as much as you can here, but we're going to sink down into a little bit of a squat here. Again, we're lifting up through the core or the chest, and we're getting this core nice and solid, and we're just going to rotate side to side. See if you can keep your knees perfectly still when you do this. So it's like the bottom half of your body stuck in cement. All the movements coming from your waist. And then if this feels okay, maybe you speed it up a little bit, but only if you can keep your legs still. Few more. Now stay to the left and just a little pulse. Other side. Okay. Hopefully now you're good and warm. So we'll kind of take it up a notch. We're going to come into our sumo squat. So you've got an option. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, You can go ahead and grab a weight and hold it at your chest. But don't feel like you got to jump into it. We're going to progressively work harder here. So feet are wide, toes are turned out. As you squat down, the knees point directly over the toes and they don't go past the toes. As you stand up, you squeeze the inner thighs. You squeeze your behind to propel you up. Few more here. Okay, on this next one, we're going to get low in this sumo squat, get up nice and tall, lift the chest, make the core solid. We're going to do the same rotation movement in the static squat. Pulling in all around these trunk muscles is really important. That's what's going to help stabilize your spine in this. Few more. Okay. Now we're going to do little kickbacks, and you may want to get to a wall to help stabilize you here. So we're going to stand up nice and straight. We're going to kind of balance on this left leg, and we're just going to flex the right foot and kick this right leg straight back. And hold at the back and pulse. Really squeeze this right butt cheek. Okay, other side, same thing. Get nice and tall. You're standing on the right leg, slight bend in this right knee. Flex the left foot, and that's just to give you clearance. Really squeeze at the top. Hold this next one at the top and little pulses. Okay, we're going to come down to the mat. Okay, so if everything I'm about to suggest doesn't feel good, hold a plank. You can always hold your modified plank on your knees. Otherwise, we're going to come up on our toes. We're going to touch opposite hand, opposite shoulder. See if you can brace your core enough where you're not swaying back and forth too much as you do this. You can always come down on your knees and do it too. Few more here. Okay, grab your weights. We're going to go on our back for chest press. So remember with chest press, weights and elbows are in line with the midline of the chest. Press up at the top, tiny little bend at the top. Okay, now we're going to do something a little different. We're going to turn our palms to face each other. We're going to bend our elbows like we're hugging a beach ball. And so now, as we come out, we're going to be opening up more in the chest. This is called a chest fly. So the arms still lightly touch the mat at the bottom. At the top, keep that nice big flare in the elbows, like you're hugging a tree or a beach ball. One more. Okay, come back up. We're gonna do all that again. So we're starting with sumo squats. Feet are nice and wide, toes turned out, knees point in the same direction as the toes, but never go past the toes. Last one. Now we're going to get right in the middle. We're going to do something a little different here. Instead of the rotations, we're going to go back to this little shoulder exercise where we're turning our arms up and down, our hands up and down. Keep the shoulders pulled back and down. Lock the belly button down. Few more here. Okay, so next, instead of these kickbacks, we are going to do little side extensions. And again, you may want to grab a chair, a wall. So get nice and stable in this right foot. And, or no, we did left leg first last time. Let's do that again. We're going to start standing on the left leg, bent knee, slightly bent knee, just so you're not locked out. And we're coming straight out to the side. Again, brace that core all the way around the spine. Don't lock out that standing leg. Really squeeze the outside of the butt cheek here. Hold at the top, pulse. Okay, other side. And let me just say, I should have said this on the first side, I'm sorry. If this feels like too much, bend this leg you're extending a little bit too. That'll put a little bit less strain on the side. So little bend in this right leg, the standing leg. And you're going to lean a little bit to the right every time you extend. But see if you can kind of fight against that and stay upright. If you're doing this right, you'll feel it in both legs in different ways. Hold at the top and pulse. Okay, back down to the mat. So you can come back to this modified plank and maybe you just stay here, or maybe you do the shoulder tap here. You can come up to a standard plank and maybe you just stay here, or you do a shoulder tap here. Couple more. And on your back, chest press. This time we're going to start with chest fly. Then let's go into chest press. Chest fly sometimes takes a little bit more strength. So start at the top. It's usually easier to set up that way. Palms face each other. Elbows are flared wide, like you can barely fit your arms around something. Lightly tap the elbows to the mat, go right back up. Focus on that squeeze in the chest. And chest press, rotate the hands down towards the legs. Lightly tap the mat at the bottom. Slight bend in the arms at the top. You'll notice pretty much without fail, we don't lock out joints, like ever. Very few exceptions, and no exceptions when you're in an actual working exercise opposed to a stretch. Last one. Okay, so while we're down on the mat, we're going to do something called clamshells. So here's your modification. If this just absolutely does not feel good, you're just going to stay right here. You're going to lay down on your side, and you're just going to open and close this top knee. Otherwise, if it feels okay, we're going to come up on our forearm, bring this top hand to the waist, and we're going to press up on this. So we're pressing into this bottom leg and opening up like a clamshell. But again, here's your modification. You're legging here and just lifting this knee up and down. Last one. We're going to stay on this side. Let me make sure you guys can see me good here. And we're going to come out with our legs at like almost kind of like 90 degrees. So we're not straight up and down, or I guess our legs would be 90 degrees if we were straight out. So it's not straight up and down. It's not 90 degrees. It's in the middle. So like on a clock, if my head's at 12 o'clock, your legs are at 4:30. Okay, so we're going to start by pointing our toe as we lift up. Flexing our toe as we lift up, and then pointing our toe as we lower down. So flex up, point down. Flex up, point down. Okay, so now we're going to point up and flex down. Point up, flex down. Two more. Okay, other side. We're going to start with clamshells on the other side. So again, your modification. You're down here supporting, kind of stabilizing your spine and the up and down. Otherwise, you're up on the forearm, top hand to the waist, lift up onto this bottom knee, and you're opening the knees as wide apart as you can, pressing the hips forward like a clamshell. Two more. Okay, legs come out to 90 degrees. We're going to flex up, point down. Flex up, point down. Okay, now we're going to point up, flex down. Point up, flex down. Okay, stretch it out for a second before you come up. And we're going to come all the way up. Grab your weights. We're going to go into bent rows. So we're going to be doing 2 rounds of bent rows. So these are either going to be double arm bent rows, or if you struggle with these, if your lower back hurts after you do them, then you can either sit down and do it, or you can get on your leg on a piece of furniture and do single arm rows with one arm this time and then come back to the other arm the next time because we're doing 2 rounds. Okay. So feet are a little closer than hip distance apart. Lift up through the chest with a nice flat back, hinge forward, and row straight back. Let's go back to those muscles. They go all the way around the trunk of the body to support the spine. Hug all those muscles in, not just in the front, but on the sides and the back. That's your support system. Okay, weights down. We're going to come into a curtsy lunge. So with a curtsy lunge, I just want to say that this is one of the most questionable leg exercises that I do. I really like it because if you do it properly, you're going to really engage parts of your glutes that are kind of hard to access. But that being said, the reason it's iffy is because you have to really pay attention to your knees here because they tend to want to go in these weird directions. So we're going to bring our left foot forward. We're going to step our right foot behind. So see how I'm kind of crisscross, and just like the name implies, it's like a curtsy. So when I squat down, pay attention to how this knee goes right over this toe. It doesn't go in a different direction. So your modification would be to get a little bit into this if you feel like your knees aren't stable, and just squeeze your inner thighs together, squeeze your butt, and pulse. Really squeeze your behind as you come up. Last one, and other side. So right foot in front, left leg steps behind. Pay attention to this front knee. Three more. Last one. Good. Shake it out. Roll out your hips and grab your weight. Bent rows. So again, lift up through the chest. Hinge forward at the waist. Deep bend in the knees allows your back to be nice and flat. Hug in all those supporter muscles. Two more. Okay. Weights down. Second set of curtsy lunges. So, left foot forward. Step the right foot back. If this just feels wrong and your knee doesn't feel stable no matter what you do, come back out to this regular static squat and just squeeze your butt nice and firm. You know my philosophy. It's better to back off a little bit, modify, and be able to work out again tomorrow and the day after that. If we push too hard, we injure ourselves. It does us no good if it takes us weeks or months to recover. Last one, and other side. Pay attention to that front knee. Last one. And let's go down to the mat. Okay, we're on our backs for bridges. So feet are hip distance apart. Press the arms and the feet into the mat. Bridge up, hold at the top for a second. Squeeze, and then as you lower down, barely touch the mat and go right back up. Okay, we're gonna hold this next one at the top. So either pause here, or as long as this feels stable on your lower back, you're gonna rock your knees in, tap your knees, bring them back out, hip distance apart, holding at the top. Squeeze your behind, pull in your belly button. Last one. Okay, bicycles. So your modification is always, if you don't feel stable in your lower back, bring your hands under your hips and just do this bottom part of the movement. Otherwise, knees come to 90 degrees, hands behind the head. Tilt this pelvis under, engage those muscles that tilt the pelvis up, and keep that middle part of the back as firmly planted into the ground as you can. Again, I know I always say it, but it's so important. There should be no popping or crunching. That is your spine's way of telling you that something isn't right. You make the movement smaller. You put your hands under your hips. You do whatever you have to do to not feel a chronic popping or crunching. One more time each side. Okay, those two exercises, one more time and we're done. Feet hip distance apart, press into the arms, into the feet. Bridge up, knees stay hip distance apart. Barely tap the mat at the bottom, go right back up. Watch those knees, make sure they're not flaring out or dropping in. They should be hip distance. Pull in the belly button, squeeze the behind. Hold this next one at the top. Either stay here and pulse, or if everything feels stable, rock those knees in, let them tap, go back out to hip distance. Last one, and one more set of bicycles. Knees are bent 90 degrees, middle of the back, pressed into the mat, pelvis tilted. Really pull that belly button in. That's going to help you tilt the pelvis. And even if you have your hands under your hips, still focus. Even if you can't activate them right now, focus on trying to tilt your pelvis, because that's what's going to start to activate all those little muscle fibers. Two more each side. And come down. Left ankle to the right knee. Take this left hand, push the left knee out. Either stay here or pull that right knee in towards your body for a deeper stretch. Flex the left foot. Notice how that changes the stretch. And unwind, other side. Right ankle to the left knee. Take this right hand, press into the right knee. If this feels like enough of a stretch, stay here. Otherwise, pull that left leg in. Flex the right foot. Okay. Go ahead and unwind. Feet come mat distance apart. And we're just going to windshield wiper the knees to one side and the other. Kind of pause at the bottom as the knees drop down so you can feel that stretch down each side of your body. Next time your knees drop to the right, let them stay there. Maybe you extend this left arm out and turn to look at it. You can play around with the arm position. Sometimes bringing the arm up to 90-degree bend can be a nice shoulder stretch. Whatever feels good. Other side. Turn to the right if you want to deepen that stretch, that twist. Okay, go ahead and come up into tabletop. Take this right arm, thread it under the left arm, and drop down on the right shoulder. And then you can try playing around with walking this left arm out and even over towards the right corner of the mat. And come up, other side, same thing. Thread the left arm under, drop down on the left shoulder. Maybe extend this right arm straight and walk it over if that feels good. And come up. You're going to step your left foot forward. So we've got these 290-degree bends in our legs. We're going to tilt our pelvis under. So it's like we're trying to pull our belly button up to our chest. And that gives us a nice stretch on this extended leg here. And then maybe we interlace the hands from behind, really roll the shoulders back and down. If you can't get the shoulders back and down, maybe just try bringing the hands to the lower back and pressing into the lower back and using that as leverage to open up through the shoulders. Keep the pelvis tucked under. That's what makes this stretch really effective. And other side. Tilt the pelvis. Good. And slowly come up. Okay, step out nice and wide. Bend your knees a little bit if you need to. If you need to put something under your hands, you can, but we're going to lean forward, and you should feel a good stretch on your inner thighs and the backs of your legs. If your heart's really pounding, don't let it drop below your chest. Keep your head kind of, if your heart is pounding, don't let your head drop below your heart until it slows down. So you'll keep your head elevated here. Somebody probably passed out while I was trying to get that out. Okay, bend your knees. Nice deep bend before you come up. That's going to protect your lower back. Okay, take this right arm, reach it behind the body. You can interlace this left hand into the right hand to just kind of pull it over a little bit more, and then lean your head to the left. Good neck stretch. And then if it feels okay, you got to be real careful with your neck sometimes. You can kind of tilt that head down like you're trying to touch your chin to your left shoulder. And then to come out of this, let's release the hands first and then back out of it. Same way we went in. Give it a second to just kind of neutralize. Roll the shoulders gently, gently roll the head. And then when everything feels like it's kind of neutralized again, go ahead and reach the left arm behind the back, interlace the hands with the right hand, lean your head to the right. And then if it feels like your neck wants to go that way, you can turn the chin towards the right shoulder. Okay, release the hands and then slowly back out of that stretch the same way you went in. Roll the shoulders, gently roll the head in one direction and the other. Okay, good job. Make sure to stay hydrated. If you missed Autumn's class last night, she did it outside. It was a beautiful evening, so there's a good vinyasa flow. I just uploaded onto YouTube. It's linked on the page. And then remember, tomorrow, Autumn has her Wednesday 1 p.m. chair yoga. I really encourage you to check it out. It's really good. It's still a workout, even with the chair. There's just all kinds of creative ways to do it. And then I have my 45-minute yoga class tomorrow evening at 6:30. I hope you guys have